Welcome back. Apologies for that. I just random disconnection, it seemed, from PSN, or just a PSN error code. But regardless, we're back. Matt Thomas has just pitted onto the medium, another set of medium compound tyres, and Wuma medium pilot carry on as Ollie then out of this race in the racing point. So it went from bad to worse for him. Another penalty for Corey then. He's racking them up fairly quickly as Alfie back ahead of Super Guy. Calzo Bass, you can see, in hot pursuit as pilot then, with now Wuma without the DRS. A sitting duck on this back straight, and medium pilot makes the move. Can he hold it? Oh, contact between the two, and they go round into the wall. Absolute scenes. Contact between Wuma and medium pilot. They're in a very dangerous part of the track, and they seem to have got through okay. Pilot's having trouble getting back around. Nick will go by Wuma then as well, so absolutely disastrous contact between the two. And that was an absolutely massive accident. If you're just joining, just go back a few seconds and watch that incident between Wuma and medium pilot into the final chicane. A big accident. Corey is out of this race now as well. Has he gone at the chicane? I'm not sure, but he's out of this race. So it all kicking off lap 15. Paco now out as well. We're going to see a safety car of some sort. It's absolute madness at the moment. Cars dropping left, right and centre. Speeds to try and make his way back through the field. He's in 5th place, trying to chase down Bass for 4th. A little bit of contact. Still ahead though for the time being. See Zach there on hards in pursuit of this as well. Suddenly he's in a very interesting spot now. Speeds with the DRS then. Very easy move in the end, and he makes the move into P4. Super Guy gets a penalty then as well. Fast racking up these penalties at Canada, to be expected naturally, as Wuma then pits after his excursion. Now one of them went absolutely, medium pilot went flying into the wall, but did Wuma, yes, they are replacing that front wing, so I wasn't sure if he got away scot-free with that. I say scot-free without damage, but he did not, and pilot into the pits then as well. It was a massive accident. Apologies if you just joined back stream. Apologies, I have no idea what happened before. Just a random PSN error code, but thankfully it seems to be okay. But always a pleasure on a Sunday evening. Alfie ahead of Super Guy and Calzo, but it could be difficult to defend that position heading up the main straight, or the back straight rather. You can see they're very close. How's the ERS situation? It's favouring Super Guy more so, and then with the slipstream reeling in that racing point, is there enough room to go down the inside into the chicane? He thinks better of it this time around. Of course, he would have seen an accident in front of him between Pilot and Wuma. They were closing up on that battle. Alfie goes defensive. Oh, a bit of contact between Super Guy and Alfie. I think Super Guy, I think his wing is okay, but definitely a bit of contact there. Luckily the racing point didn't go spinning round, and we still have a battle for the lead on our hands. The rest of the field is kind of spread just a bit. This is the closest battle on the track at the moment. You can see between the guys who have pitted again, the guys who've gone into incidents, and the guys who obviously who've retired from this race. They came thick and fast there in those last few laps. But here's the situation where it stops. There you go. Everyone has to pit again essentially, apart from Pilot, Zenki, Mukunisi, anyone on the hards basically, as Super Guy trying to go for a move on Alfie. Oh, Calzo's right there as well. Not sure if he made contact, didn't look like it, as now speeds now into this battle as well. Zach on the hards can go to the end. Everyone else pretty much has to pit again, and so Zach is a very interesting position as Super Guy then pulls over to the left hand side. Alfie tries to fight it, slips back in and makes the move. So Super Guy then moves up into the lead of this race and can use DRS then to pull away on this start finish straight. You can see Matt there reeling in, Nick there for P7. We'll stick at the front. Speeds all over the back of Calzo. So catching is one thing, passing is another. And can they get that done? Lap 18 of 35, basically a half distance, just over half distance now, with another stop to go for these front runners, with the exception of Zach, who can probably run to the end on the hards. But will he be at a significant pace disadvantage that he can be reeled in after these guys make their stops? Certainly the squabbling has helped for sure, and Zach running in relatively clean air, so to speak. He's got Bass in front of him, and he has been running kind of clean air. It's only this lap actually he's got within DRS. He's actually catching significantly. Not sure if Zach has got damage or sorry, not if Bass has got damage or something, but this lap he's been significantly reeled in by Zach, as Calzo straight isn't quite long enough to make an overtake on Alfie for the time being. And Alfie's run wasn't too bad, hitting off of that last corner as well, as Matt overtakes Nick. And that is for P7, and Matt in an interesting spot. He's got to go on the soft still in this race, so he could be an interesting, play an interesting part in this race come the end. Of course, another set of medium tyres on the way, you'd imagine, for these guys. Unless you can make the soft, medium, soft work, but haven't seen that too often. So I'm expecting another set of mediums in the next few laps, because you know, there's the sorry, the tyre life is there. You can see 11, 10, 12 laps for some of these guys, 13 for Bass. As see Pilot and Zenki, there's a little action into the final chicane. Mercedes versus Renault ending a little bit more cleanly this time into that final chicane compared to last time. Again, if you missed it, just as we restarted the stream, massive incident between Medium Pilot and Wumba heading into the final chicane. And that's a shame, because they'd be right where Matt is essentially, who is chasing down Zach. We're going board with this actually. And just having DRS on Bass has certainly helped there. Calzo into the pits then. That's why our overtake was made there for a brief second. So Speedster then into the pits for another set of mediums, you would imagine. And Matt then can't get by Zach, and Zach is fortunate in the sense that he has DRS on Bass in front of there, so mediums are confirmed for Speedster. Where will he emerge then? Oh, he emerged in an easy P8 then, with CC Brain coming into the pits then as well. So that's just shows how much separations in the field after all the incidents. There's been plenty of them. And after negotiating a ghost car, always easier said than done. It really puts you off, as Senki gets a time penalty. Of course, you can see there on the time screen he's right up to Medium Pipe. We're going to stick with this battle though. A little more interesting of a battle. You can see Matt, Zach kind of boxed in there for a sec, and opportunistic move for Matt. He makes the move. Speaking of making moves, you're going to see another one down this back straight here. Alfie, try to cover off Calzo. He's not, it's just on the limit of giving space. That was so tight. I'm not sure if you squeeze against the wall or you know, to the point of receiving damage, but Superguy and Alfie coming to the pits then, and Bass is in as well. Where's Speedster then as he comes to the final chicane? 3-second penalty for Calzo then at the front. Here is Speedster then. There is Superguy as he rounds the pit exit, bit twitchy on exit, and then splitting the difference, Speedster and Superguy. So he's sandwiched himself in between Alfie and Superguy has Speedster. So the undercut worked out in the sense he gained one position there, and he's probably going to gain another one here in a second with Calzo coming into the pits. Good run though, coming down this back straight, this second DRS straight rather. That's a yellow flag for Zenki there. Doesn't affect these two. Contact between the two. Speedster has to go off, and the VSC is deployed. The virtual safety car is deployed, and this is going to be absolutely, this is the dream news if you're Calzo, Matt, Zach. Absolutely in dreamland. A collision with Superguy and Alfie. That's a 5-second penalty. I'm not sure if there's wing damage involved, but no brainer here. Oh, they've carried on. Fascinating. Zach is into the pits, I think is the right move. Nick into the pits as well. Matt has no choice but to carry on because the Sessos won't go to the end of the race, and he's only used those two compounds. Zach replacing a front wing. Medium tyres for him. I think we're about to go racing again in a sec. See Nick coming into the pits there as well. So is there any damage on this racing point then? Severe collision was the message that came up. And we're racing once again. As Alfie got the jump then. So Fisa is ahead of Super Guy after all that. A little contentiously. But there you go then. One for the stewards to look at afterwards. Lap 22 of 35. Only 11 runners, sorry, only 12 runners left, and I think, yeah, only 11 rather, because Mikulissi has not rejoined. So the battle soldiers on. So Zach then pivots then from his hards. So the wing down has just been bad enough then, and then opportunistic timing with the VSC then as well. So he's not too far behind this squabble then. And he's have Calzo pitching. I'm surprised he didn't pitch. I really am. So he must be extending the stint then to try and get a set of softs to the end, but I'm pretty sure he started on softs as it was. You can see Super Guy then and Speedster. We've seen one major accident into this chicane. We won't see another. Nicely done by Super Guy to make that move into the final chicane. And yeah, with DRS then can charge off into turn 1 unopposed. Why wouldn't Calzo pitch under the VSC? I'm trying to point. Again, the only reason I could think of is that he's trying to extend his current stint for a set of softs. That's the only thing I could think of. As Speedster picks up a 3 seconds time penalty. Calzo definitely. Let's just check this. Yeah, it's obviously started inside the top 10 on the softs. He's going to be undercut. He's going to lose so much time if he comes in for a set of mediums. He's going to be well. When he hits, he's going to be well behind as it is. You can see the gap there. He's only got 13 or so seconds on this scrap here. So he's obviously been undercut by 2 and 3 laps respectively with fresh mediums. So that's the only thing that I can think of, that he's just going on to soft. So we'll see how it works out for him. Matt's actually catching quite quickly onto Calzo. I'll have a look at the lap times next time round, because of course Matt's tyre is much younger, and Alfie picks up another penalty there. You can see that coming with his exit there onto that chicane. Alfie sets a fast lap in the process, but Matt in a good position here because his tyres are optimum for this part of the race. Not extending his stint, he's getting close to the end of his stint, and those tyres on Calzo's car look like they've seen better days, because Matt is absolutely rapidly reeling him in. 2.3 seconds. That was 3 seconds, not less than half a lap ago, basically. We'll see if there's any sign of an overtake heading into turns 8 and 9. Oh, a bit wide there for Speedster than he would prefer. There's a little battle here between Bass and Zach as well, but we'll stick with this one for well, I guess in a sense the effective race lead. We'll see what if Calzo and Matt can get into the equation. I want to see these lap times just very, very quickly. So a 12.5 for Calzo and 11.8 for Matt, and there you go. That's just a difference of a few laps of rubber. And yeah, could be within DRS very, very soon. So Matt in a nice little spot here, but he's going to have some making up to do on his soft competitors. He's going to be, he's going to pop out into what would you imagine, 10th? No, not quite, maybe not 10th, but he's going to be close to that, I'm sure, because it's still quite tight there. You can see 25 seconds separate first from a 10th, so he might come out in 9th or so. We'll see how it develops. Calzo obviously being in a similar spot as well. There's a yellow flag. Oh, and Woma's round, so that'll help. And a yellow flag then retiring from the session for his Woma. Again, his race kind of fell apart when Medium Pie. A safety car is out. Oh, here we go then. Safety car is deployed. Now, game on. Absolutely game on. This is dream stuff, you'd imagine, for Matt and Calzo. Let's see if anyone else responds to this as well. Safety car is just being deployed. This will make this race really spicy then. Obviously a no-brainer into the pits, Calzo and Matt. But what will Super Guy, Speedster and Alfie do? Will they come into the pits? There's significant track position to be lost if they come in and the others stay out. Let's see what happens then. Soft compound tyres, no-brainer, Matt and Calzo. Super Guy carries on, Speedster, Alfie, they all carry on. Nick carries on, they all have to carry on. CC Brain may as well come into the pits. Now where will they emerge? I don't believe they have to adhere to the safety car delta as they come out. So can Matt get ahead of Zach? Ahead of Nick even. Wow, that's worked out very nicely. Calzo into third. Oh, oh, that's worked out an absolute treat. So Calzo then, his decision to stay out after that first VSC, what looked like a mistake, has definitely paid off now, and he is in the box seat, you would imagine, to win this race. Matt in a very good position as well. I've not seen his name pop up a lot for penalties. Again, we're going to let it sit, and we'll find out at the end what happens, because it's just more fun at Canada that way, I think, because there's so many penalties. You know, it's impossible to keep track regardless. So may as well just have a bit of fun with it at the end and see what happens. CC Brain, a no-brainer, no, well, pun kind of intended, to put on the soft compact tires, a medium pilot, whose race was looking pretty shoddy. Decided to go for the mediums, but depending on how quickly the safety car comes in, should be able to get himself into the mix here as well. But yeah, fresh rubber then for him. Might help him against Zach and Bass. And we saw kind of what the difference between 10 lap old mediums on Matt's car and 15 lap old tires on Calzo's car. The difference between that, see how quickly Matt was gaining in that period. So maybe not straight away, but certainly maybe near the end of this race that might work out for medium pilot, because still around 7, 8, 9 laps left. We'll see how many remain when the safety car peels in, but just 10 runners then. 20 started. Only 10 remain, and now 2 of them on soft compound tyres. Should be a hoot. oh, if you've got penalties stacked, this is absolute disaster, because it's the worst thing that could have happened, is a safety car to come out and, yeah, to be in range basically of sliding down the field big time. They're all behaving under the safety car so far. Of course, easier said than done, because some drivers do not like behaving under the safety car, and will just try any trick in the book to try and make up a position, or just, yeah, you just see generally dirty driving under safety car at times. So you think it's easy, but honestly, I've been there, and it's not as easy as it thinks, because there's always one person that likes to act the maggot. Just looking at the obviously speeds of the supercar trying to keep their tyres warm in front, it won't be so much of an issue for Calzo and Matt. These softs should come into their own fairly quickly, and ideally for these guys, they'd like another lap of the safety car, I reckon, because by the time, it's in this lap, okay, so they have to make the most of their tyres soon, because come the end of the race, there's wing damage for Alfie, and he's hit Calzo, and he's letting everyone through, and he's actually really screwing up everyone, to be honest. They might get illegal overtakes, we'll find out, but I think Alfie has is he has enough, or is he letting them through? We'll find out. Nick and Calzo, you can see him trading places there, so I don't know, I can't say if that was a brake check or not, or whatever the case may be, but that's dropped. Oh dear, there's an overtake under the safety car. Nick has got by, and there's more collisions happening everywhere. This is a very scruffy restart, because the safety car line, Nick has had an off. Can he hold it? He can, as they head down towards turn 1 then. So Calzo still leads. There's a bunch of penalties for ignoring yellow flags, because the safety car line is not, new rule for this year is that green flag is after the start finish straight, not at the safety car line. That was a new rule in for this year, so the green flag does not happen at the safety car line, it's the start finish line. There was plenty of overtakes made before that they crossed the start finish line into green flag racing, so there's going to be a lot of penalties, I'm sure, to be handed out after this. I'm not sure. A contact between Super Guy and Speedster. Matt's lost out here a bit on this restart, but he's on the best tyres of the bunch. A bunch of penalties to be applied here. Now we're going to see a sprint to the finish. Some guys with a lot of making up to do to try and put behind some of these penalties, but that might not be enough. We'll see what happens. Calzo then leading the way ahead of Super Guy, Speedster, Zach, Nick, Matt then trying to go around the outside of the hairpin. Much better tyres, of course. No DRS enabled in these first 2 or so laps after the safety car restarts, so we'll have it from lap 30, I believe, as when we'll have it. We'll see how that turns out. But then Matt gets a decent run. No DRS to help him, but he has to use this time to save ERS, as everyone will have, of course. Fuel and ERS shouldn't be an issue for these guys. With a VSC and a safety car, Matt trying to squeeze his way through. Has to be careful. He's in a prime position here with a lack of penalties compared to those around him, and he does not need to be throwing his car down the inside into turn 1 like that. So Alfie then did retire from this race after the contact on the restart, or prior to the restart rather, and I reckon the stewards will want to have a long look at this, at that restart. So who even knows what the final result will be, as CC Brain picks up a penalty. Speedster then trying to get the jump on Super Guy. Calzo is in front on his softs, and that's exactly where he needs to be. But we'll have to rely on his straight line speed to make any overtakes before this DRS is enabled once again. Oh, he's going to go for a move. Is Speedster? It's not the cleanest moves. A bit of contact, but he is through on Super Guy, and well, Super Guy left the door open enough, to be fair. I would need to see it again, but he's reeling him in with his straight line speed. Of course, no DRS activate quite yet. Is he going to be given the squeeze? Oh, a bit more contact. Oh, and two can't fit through there. Speedster's into the wall. Zach has to back up off the throttle, and that's going to bring Matt and Nick right into the equation then as well. I'm not sure if there is any wing damage, but DRS is enabled then. Oh, there's an accident. Nick is off into the track and he's out of this race. I'm not sure who he hit there or how that accident even came to be, but absolutely more carnage in this Canadian Grand Prix. It's not the first time, and I dare say there could be one more twist left in the story before this is all said and done. It's not been the cleanest of races, I'm not going to lie. ILR2 should be racing a lot better than this. But alas, we're here with 8 cars, I think 9 cars actually. I think Micheluzzi actually did get to rejoin as Speedster then with DRS then trying to come up against Super Guy, almost hit into the barrier there. This is good news for Calzo, who's just escaped up the road, but of course we'll have to do a lot more escaping with his penalty situation. Super Guy defending hard against Speedster, leaves the door open for Zach down the inside. CC Brain and Bass there as well. Mash has to be careful not to get involved in this as well. Gets a really good run on Zach then as well, he's been squeezed just a bit, is the Mercedes, as he goes side by side as Speedster. Super Guy also going side by side as well, go on board with Mash, Calzo actually, or sorry, Zach rather, my bad. So Mash ahead then of Zach, and then Speedster then ahead of Super Guy as we enter lap 31 of 35. Absolutely ridiculous race from pretty much start to finish, and it's not over yet. I'm sure there's a twist or two left in this tale. Speedster then has dispatched Super Guy and he can set off after Calzo then. Next up for Matt is a podium spot. He's got Super Guy in front of him, of course, on those older medium tyres. We'll be getting to they'll be aging a bit come the end of this session, but should be good to go against those softs, who will also be facing a similar problem at the end of this race. But for now, it's still anyone's guess as Bass and Pilot, oh, contact between the two, and that allows Pilot to go through. Bass won't be too impressed by that. It was not a very clean move. Right then, who's got the better run out of the hairpin? Matt's got a good run, but of course Super Guy will have DRS on Speedster, and that will compromise Matt's progress up this top 3. But to be honest, I think he's still in the box seat here. I don't remember seeing his name for penalties too often, as Super Guy trying to reply to Speedster, makes contact with the wall champions, was reeling him in. Speedster goes defensive. These two have been racing hard all race long. It's going to end in an accident, one of these adventures. Super Guy off the track. Matt there can't quite get by. A little bit of contact between the Williams and the Mercedes. Will Matt launch one down the inside? He's no need to, and decides wisely not to launch one down the inside into turn 3. It's a tough place to make a move stick anyways. He has to be right alongside them, basically ahead of them, down the inside into that corner. You can see CC Brain right there as well, but Super Guy's exit is compromised. Has he got damage on that car? I'm not sure, but Matt's going to come with DRS on the outside. Oh, coming to blows, these two, and Super Guy defending hard, holding on to that position for the time being, but he's certainly struggling. And Matt then coming on through. Let's go around the outside. Zach right there as well. CC Brain there as well. You can see Speedster into the DRS now of Calzo as well, but better traction for Matt with those soft compound tyres. He got the DRS there to boot. I don't think Super Guy has DRS. No, he's not. He's not got ERS left either. Neither is Matt, to be fair. But with the DRS, Matt should be able to make it through. And CC Brain trying to attack Zach here as well. And has to file in to that final chicane. How's Matt's run? It's good enough for the time being. So Matt into the podium places, then ahead of Super Guy, Zach, CC Brain, Pilot, Bass, all right there should anything kick off. Lap 33 of 35. Calzo then has been caught by Speedster. His advantage on those softs fading as we head into the closing stages of this Canadian Grand Prix. What an absolutely mad race this has been, and like I said, it's not over yet. A lot of twists still to be had on track, and then obviously when we cross the finish line with the penalties to be applied as Spica is reeling in. Calzo with DRS then. Matt has dropped already 1.3 to Super Guy. I'm guessing he's nursing some sort of damage on that car. That's the only thing to that would be the only thing that makes sense really. So here we go then. Change for the race lead on the track at least. Are we going to see it this lap? Just around 4/10 is Calzo's advantage. You see Brain and Pilot, they're very, very close together. We're going to skip back to that now because no move for Spica heading into that final chicane as of yet. CC Brain, Zach trying to defend. And just a check on Spica. Side by side, heading towards Calzo into turn 1. Are they going to make contact again? Onto the grass a bit is Spica, but he makes the move. And it moves into the lead of this race on the penultimate lap of this race. CC Brain still can't get by Zach. Pilot's still right there, as is Bass as well. So they are right there now. Mash catching the leading duo as they squabble, but now Spica is past and he should be able to extend an advantage at the front, but of course I'm not sure if he'll be able to save him. 2 seconds in gap between Matt and Super Guy then. Zach, CC Brain, Pilot all trying to find a way potentially onto a podium spot, but in all reality at this stage, we'll see what bearing it has, but I think penalties are going to play more of a factor here in track position, but we'll see as they head up this back straight for the penultimate time. Super Guy without DRS then will be a sitting duck of sorts as Zach then opens his rear wing. Will he go for a move down into the final chicane? No, not this time. Oh, CC Brain trying to slow down in time, gets a penalty in the process. Under pressure then from Medium Pilot then as we begin the final lap of this absolutely chaotic race. CC Brain goes defensive, can't find a way through, so they still can't. This is how they've been pretty much since the restart. Zach, CC Brain, Pilot and Bass, and they can't quite find a way through. As at the front, meanwhile, you can see the gap there, but we're going to stick on board with this battle. Matt might get Calzo, but we'll find out as CC Brain goes down the inside of Zach. Can't quite make the move. Zach had the better line on the outside and keeps the position for the time being as one last blast down towards turns 8 and 9. A penalty for Calzo. How will that affect the final grid order? We'll find out as down to the hairpin for the final time. Then will we see a move from CC Brain on Zach then? A late one, yes. Is he going to have the better run though, heading up this back straight one last time. Absolutely wild race. We'll see how it ends. Spica then coming into the final chicane. He's going to win the race on track, but I suspect he's not going to win it on penalties. He crosses the line in first. Calzo then, Matt Tybos is going to win the Canadian Grand Prix by quite a convincing margin in the end. Zach jumps up to third, Pilot jumps up to fourth. Super Guy 5th, Calzo 6th, Bass 7th, CC Brain 8th, and Mikulitsi will round out the finishing order in 9th place, 2 laps down. So there you go then. Not that close in the end for the race win. Matt Tybos is the winner from 15th place on the grid, I believe, after his qualifying incident. Gave him a 5th place grid penalty, but he's made up for it on race day. What an absolutely bonkers race. Of everyone else, he seemed to keep it clean, while everyone else kind of just absolutely capitulated around him. Even in those early stages as well, had to make up through the field. Just absolutely ridiculous race. Just, oh dear. It was a fun race to watch, but internally this will be an absolutely shambles from ILR2. It's not going to go down well. But that being said, a thoroughly enjoyable race with Matt Tybos then taking the win. I don't think he got penalties. We'll find out in a second then. But maybe one. We'll find out. Give me that free experience for that race. Thank you. Here we go. No penalties from Matt Tybos. That's a cracking drive. That's so hard to do. He wins ahead of Spica in 2nd, Zach in 3rd, Medium Pilot in 4th, Super Guy in 5th, Calzo 6th, Bass in 7th, CC Brain in 8th, Mikulitsi in 9th. Also with no penalties, to be fair, although he spent a good chunk of that race out of his car after he disconnected. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the story is with that, but. Wow, what a race. We lost from this race so many people. Nick, Alfie, Wuma, Zenki, Paco, Corey, Ollie, Samster, Darkbolt, Praga, and Jeff. Oh dear. Just absolute carnage. From Speedster in qualifying, if that was intentional, it looked, I don't know, if it seems strange that his wheel would suddenly start working then for the race if it quote unquote broke in qualifying. It looked like a Schumacher Rascast thing. I'm not sure, but I don't have the facts obviously. But just comparing incident between Darkbolt and Speeds into that final chicane, I don't know. It's weird. It's a strange one. It's just a theory. I'm not accusing of anything, but it just looked strange from the start to finish. This Canadian Grand Prix has just been absolutely weird. From Matt and Nick's penalties then as well. Just absolutely bonkers. Thanks very much for watching. Between this part and obviously the last part after not the disconnect. I didn't even disconnect. It was just a random PSN error. I just said an error occurred and that was it. This broadcast stopped. So, anyways, apologies about that. Thanks very much for watching. Next round, I believe, is France. It will be the next race for Inside Line Racing. So, hope you look forward to that. And yeah, until next time.